Good evening and welcome to Chicago Tonight. I'm Paris Schutz. Brandis Friedman is on assignment. On the show tonight, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy makes a plea to U.S. Congress members. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden sends additional aid to Ukraine. We hear from the co-chair of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus and local Congressman Mike Quigley. Plus, how are Chicago residents helping Ukrainians? We talk about some local organizations collecting donations. And Jam Productions celebrates half a century of staging concerts in Chicago and around the country. And one note before we begin, you may have seen news related to WTTW's contract with the technicians who work on this program. We believe it's important to continue to bring you the reporting, context, and analysis you've come to expect from us, and we intend to do that tonight and going forward. And up next, some of today's top stories, so please stay with us.
Chicago Tonight is made possible in part by Alexandra and John Nichols, the Jim and Kay Mabie Family, the POLK Brothers Foundation, and the support of these donors.
And now to some of today's top stories. Another former Chicago alderman gets prison time. Former 22nd Ward Alderman Ricardo Munoz is sentenced to 13 months in prison. Munoz pleaded guilty last year to wire fraud and money laundering. Former alderman is guilty of siphoning $16,000 from the bank account of City Council's Progressive Reform Caucus to pay for a relative's college tuition, among other personal expenses. Munoz will also serve 18 months of supervised release. This comes after a slew of other political corruption cases unfolding in recent weeks, including the indictment of former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. A couple has been charged for the murder of a 22-year-old woman who was executed in her home last month. 18-year-old Lanisha Strong is charged with first-degree murder, and 20-year-old Marshawn Owens is charged with felony murder for the killing of Janae McGowan. The 22-year-old was fatally shot in her Belmont-Cragen home. Prosecutors say surveillance video shows Strong and Owens going into McGowan's apartment and then leaving together 5 minutes later. McGowan was later found dead inside with a single gunshot wound to the head. Both defendants were denied bail by a judge during a hearing held earlier today. Owens and Strong are each due back in court April 5th. Checks for nearly $400 may soon be given to more than 1 million Facebook users in Illinois. This after a $650 million class action settlement was approved a year ago over the social media giant's alleged violation of the state's biometric privacy law. The lawsuit against Facebook was filed more than 7 years ago. Attorneys with the case say the checks should be delivered within 60 days. What a difference a couple weeks make. Labor peace now reigns in baseball, and the White Sox and Cubs faced off in spring training today. Twice, the teams split their squads into two to play 2 games simultaneously. The Sox won both of those games, one by a score of 4-3 and the other 5-2. The Cubs open their season April 7th against the Brewers at Wrigley Field. The Sox open a day later against the Tigers in Detroit. And Lincoln Park Zoo welcomes a brand new African lion cub. The zoo says the little one, born 2 days ago, doesn't yet have a name, and its sex is still unknown. The cub is the first African lion born at the zoo in 20 years. Oh, so cute. And like its parents, Mom Zari and Dad Jabari have only been at the zoo since fall 2021 when the new Pepper Family Wildlife Center opened. And up next, one-on-one with Congressman Mike Quigley in a conversation recorded yesterday. So please stay with us.
Thousands of Puerto Ricans are taking to the streets to protest massive blackouts.
Over the years, Mexican culture, from food to music, has become woven into the city's tapestry.
Medical professionals share the latest recommendations on COVID-19 booster shots.
DACA recipients have been facing longer delays than normal in their status renewal.
Little Village is one of my favorite neighborhoods. This neighborhood comes together to celebrate such an important day in our culture.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressed U.S. Congress members yesterday, bringing up memories of Pearl Harbor and the 9/11 attacks in an appeal to the United States to provide more support to his country. And shortly after that address, President Joe Biden announced an additional $800 million in military assistance that will be sent to Ukraine. That includes anti-aircraft systems, grenade launchers, and ammunition. Representative Mike Quigley joined us yesterday for his reaction to the address. We also invited all of Illinois' Republican congressional delegation to join us, but none accepted our invitation. We began by asking Congressman Quigley to describe the reaction to Zelenskyy in that Capitol auditorium.
Very somber, very powerful message. I'll also say that when they showed the video with the horrific scenes of children being killed, a man holding the hand of his deceased daughter, and she's under a tarp, you could hear sobs and people crying. So, it's what we have seen horrifically on a daily basis in the news, but coupled with a powerful message, I think it really got through to the Congress.
And to that request of a no-fly zone that we heard again in this clip today, President Biden and NATO leaders have continually rebuffed these calls, fearing it could lead to a broader global conflict. Do you agree with that?
First of all, there's precedent for doing this. We did it in Bosnia in 93 through 95, Libya in 2011, all to protect civilians. I think it can be done in a way to protect evacuation routes on a humanitarian basis. And I think that we have to stop differentiating the fact that they are not a member of NATO when it comes to an issue like this and trying to get people out of there if they want. The fact is, none of us care more or less about anybody because they're a member of NATO. So when we make decisions like this, I think we should take into consideration truly the horrors that we are facing there. And if we don't do it, you will see more hospitals pancake, more children dead under the rubble.
Well, and the worry from the president is that it would put U.S. troops or NATO troops in the position of perhaps having to shoot down Russian planes, which could lead to the U.S.'s involvement in this war. Is there another way to do this?
Well, sure. But first of all, everything we have asked our country and NATO to do was seen as escalatory when it was suggested. A month ago, if you had told me that we would lock Russia out of the SWIFT banking system and oil embargo, would have been unheard of. To think that we'd be sending such degrees of lethal aid, that was all viewed as escalatory. We need to recognize that Putin is escalating, and we are just rising to meet that challenge. We're now talking about the specter of chemical weapon. There was an attack, a shelling on a nuclear power plant. Chernobyl had 1 unit. This unit had 6, and the Russians refused to let the Ukrainians put out the fire. If this had gone to its catastrophic worst, you'd be talking about most of Europe being involved in that catastrophe. So this isn't just about Ukraine, and it can't be just focused on, well, we don't want it to escalate. Putin is escalating. We need to meet the demand. Well, Zelenskyy said if it's not a no-fly zone, at least give us the planes or give us anti-aircraft or missiles that'll shoot them down. And whatever it takes to help them. We're not talking about U.S. troops on the ground.
And the president has still avoided sending those MiG planes from Poland. What do you think the hesitation is?
I don't know, because Secretary Blinken was on, I think, Meet the Press about a week ago saying that they're looking at this very, very closely. And they seem to be close to a deal where they would backfill the Polish government for sending MiGs there, because the Ukrainians, that's the only planes they know how to fly. What happened to that arrangement? I just don't know. So, okay, if you don't want to do the no-fly zone, give them these planes. And if we're not going to do that, give them something else. But we simply can't watch, because while the Ukrainians are fighting so heroically, I will tell you, the Russians aren't leaving unless there's some diplomatic success, and the horrors will continue.
And here is President Biden today talking about that $800 billion additional package that the U.S. will send to Ukraine.
The United States and our allies and partners are fully committed to surging weapons of assistance to the Ukrainians. And more will be coming as we source additional stocks of equipment that we're ready to transfer. Now I want to be honest with you. This could be a long and difficult battle, but the American people will be steadfast in our support of the people of Ukraine in the face of Putin's immoral, unethical attacks on civilian populations.
So not sending the planes, but what is Ukraine getting from this package?
Well, among the things they're getting is more ammunition. They're getting drones. They're getting some help to deal with air. They're getting helicopters and other lethal aid. My argument is we are upping the lethal aid step by step, but the Ukrainians are in a race for time. President Zelenskyy spelled that out, and when he's talking about this, they can't have this ping-ponging back and forth in the debate. They need us to have pretty dramatic action quickly, because every day makes the biggest difference. The Russians are not far, unfortunately, from Kyiv, and they've already devastated so many other cities. So, if we're going to set the limits, let's get out there much quicker, because you're seeing the devastation that's taking place without more help.
And there have been some talks of a possible diplomatic solution to this that could involve Ukraine agreeing not to join NATO for a period of time. First of all, is there any realistic diplomatic solution? And second of all, is that even acceptable, those conditions, given the fact that Russia's the aggressor here and Russia's done so much damage?
No, you make the right point. And you certainly don't want Ukraine to have to make a decision. That's, again, why this enhanced aid matters so much. You don't want President Zelenskyy to have to make a choice because he doesn't want to lose so many more Ukrainians. So giving them this strength gives them a better strength at the bargaining table. And you certainly don't want to give Putin what he wanted in the first place, which is Crimea and the territories in the east and the demilitarization of Ukraine. Clearly what Putin wants to do is weaken his future prey, because his long-term goals won't change because he doesn't win everything here.
Congressman, I know you've been focused on Ukraine, but your name has floated as a possible candidate for mayor of Chicago. Are you considering jumping into that race?
I've sort of put an embargo on talking about almost anything else but Ukraine, just out of respect. And toward that end, so you don't think I'm just avoiding the issue. I was at the Ukrainian rally on Sunday with Senator Durbin. I didn't choose to march in any of the parades. So as a co-chair of the Ukrainian caucus, I've got to focus on that. All those other issues will be discussed later on. But right now, this is the greatest foreign policy crisis we've faced since 2000, since 9/11, and the greatest war we've faced in Europe since 1945.
So it doesn't sound like you're shutting the door on the mayoral thing. Is there a timeline where you might decide?
There's a big difference between making a decision on that or talking about making a decision on that and not talking about it at all, because I want to focus on Ukraine. I want to focus on Ukraine.
All right, Congressman, we thank you for joining us today. Our thanks to Congressman Mike Quigley.
Certainly we can celebrate, but we also have to recognize what so many people have gone through because of racism and what people continue to go through.
I think that Americans are finally beginning to embrace that we are African, we are indigenous, we are European, we are Asian, we are everything.
As we heard early in the program, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy addressed U.S. Congress members today, calling for more protection as his country fights against the Russian invasion. Meanwhile, millions of Ukrainians have now fled their home to seek refuge elsewhere, leaving many wondering what can be done to help. WTTW News reporter Kristen Tomitz joins us now with some details. Hey, Kristen, you've compiled a list here of organizations, but before we get to that, the Attorney General's office has warned of scams. So for people that want to help, what should they be on the lookout for?
That's right, Paris. Before you donate, do your homework. Find out whether a charity is providing direct aid in the region or raising funds for other groups. The Attorney General also recommends don't pay in cash. Ask how your donation will be distributed and ask for proof that your contribution is tax deductible.
All right, so a lot of things that folks have to look out for. And now for those who haven't done the research like you have, tell us about some of the organizations that you've compiled here.
Sure, there are lots of local, national, and international organizations that are raising funds for people in Ukraine. One of the local organizations is the St. Joseph Ukrainian Catholic Church in the city's O'Hare community, and they're raising funds to provide medical care to wounded Ukrainian soldiers and to also support chaplains serving in battle zones. Another local group is the Self-Reliance Federal Credit Union, which was actually founded by Ukrainian immigrants, and they've created a relief fund and are waiving wire transfer fees to Ukraine at this time.
Yes, and we visited both of those organizations just a couple weeks ago. All right, Kristen, good information. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Paris.
And you can read Kristen's full story on our website. That's WTTW.com/news.
Don't ever miss Chicago Tonight. Subscribe to our podcast. Get a daily download of our show delivered to your desktop or mobile device. Go to WTTW.com/Chicago Tonight podcast and subscribe.
Years ago this month, Jam Productions of Chicago produced its first show. That concert was the band War at a small club in Lincoln Park. Since then, they've produced more than 37,000 historic concerts in Chicago and all 50 states with every act imaginable, ranging from The Temptations to the Rolling Stones to Adele. And joining us now is one of the founders, Jerry Michelson, who co-founded Jam with Arnie Granite back in March of 1972. Jerry Michelson, great to see you again. You know, 1972, the live music industry is booming. It's kind of the Wild West. How did you and Arnie stake your claim?
Well, you know, it wasn't easy. There were two large promoters who had all the relationships. And so we just had to be persistent and keep calling agents and sitting in their offices and waiting for our turn to come up.
And as I understand, you started as a security guard company, and that's kind of how you learned the business.
We did. We couldn't. We weren't able to, you know, get any shows in Chicago or you know, produce any because no one would sell to us to the other two promoters. So we thought we'd learn the business by performing security services, and that security company still exists today.
All right, we're going to look at some of classic gig posters from Jam's history over the last 50 years. You know, you're known for bringing shows to some underused, old, classic Chicago palaces like the Riviera and the Aragon. What was your philosophy on where to stage these shows?
Well, we were always neighborhood-centric, and there were some classic, beautiful theaters in those parts of town, and so we just jumped on the opportunity to work in these great venues that hadn't been used for concerts. So, you know, we like to be the first to do something. We like to blaze trails.
As I understand, you kind of used a farm system. So you tried to identify the artists that you felt were up and coming, start them at a small venue, and then graduate them to bigger venues. Tell us about that philosophy.
So that was something that we created. No one was really doing it at the time. And the idea was to build the relationship with the band before anybody else by taking them in a club and working with them throughout their careers so that as they grew, as you helped them grow, they would then go from the small club to the theater to the arena and then at times to the stadium.
And we have some photos with you and folks like Van Halen, the Stones, Herbie Hancock. There you are with Eddie and the gang there, and there's you and Mick Jagger. Any stories that stand out to you about some of these gigs?
You mean the ones I can tell?
Right, the ones you remember, the ones you can tell.
Well, I remember all of them. The Stones was unique because that was a seminal moment for our company when they chose us to work with them and produce their show at Soldier Field in 1978. So that validated all of the things we had been doing up until that time from 1972 on. So that was an amazing moment that we were very proud of.
We know the last couple of years because of COVID has been really difficult for live music. What does 2022 have in store for you and the scene in general and beyond 2022?
Well, you know, we were shut down for over 18 months. The whole business was, the whole music industry. So not only were the venues closed and the promoters couldn't produce a show, you had the bands that were off the road. So they are coming out in droves. They need to, you know, they want to play in front of their fans, and this is how they earn their living, by touring. So the next 3 years will be extremely busy with more content, more talent out than you've ever seen probably in the last 20 years.
Right, a lot of pent-up demand and a lot of pent-up need to work for a lot of those bands and artists. You know, one of the things you're working on is the Uptown Theater, which still is going to take tens of millions of dollars to refurbish, but God, what a palace. What can you tell fans about when that theater might reopen?
So I'm getting closer, hopefully every day, with raising the necessary funding to restore that theater to the way it needs to be brought back. It is the most amazing movie palace built. The architects said not for today, but for all time, because it was so magnificent. So I'm hoping in the next few months, 6 months, that I'll have the funding lined up and we can get going with construction.
There's an incredible cluster of venues there when you include the Aragon and the Riviera. So what do you anticipate programming at the Uptown? Rock shows, a variety?
Well, you know, it'll be rock. It'll be, you know, all kinds of rock music or just, you know, general good concerts. But don't forget that in 75 through 81, there were plenty of nights that we had the Riv and the Uptown and the Aragon going because we had the leases at all three of those. So we were busy on some nights with all three venues being open at the same time.
That must have been amazing. As I understand, the last concert at the Uptown was the Jay Giles Band in something like 80 or 81. You know, you mentioned when you started that there were two big promoters. It seems like the whole industry is consolidated in these giant corporations like Live Nation controlling everything. How are you able to continue to keep your piece of turf here, given the pressures in the industry?
Well, I'd say that we have the best staff that knows music better than anybody at any other company, and we have the best venues. But you know, I got to give kudos to our staff who have the best ears around about picking new talent and ones that will develop into superstars.
And as we mentioned, you've done everything from the small clubs up to Soldier Field and Wrigley Field and Old Comiskey Park. Is it difficult to put on those big giant concerts at Soldier Field, for instance, the Rolling Stones a couple of years ago, and some of those other giant stadium concerts?
Well, no, not for us. I mean, you know, for us, it's just standard operating procedure when we're doing an outdoor show, whether it's at Wrigley or Soldier or wherever it may be. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of moving parts, and it takes a great team. And we have, you know, we have a great staff. So it's easier for us than probably many others.
All right. Well, congratulations on 50 years. Here's to the next 50. And our thanks to Jerry Michelson. Thanks for joining us.
Don't miss one of our stories. Get them all delivered to your desktop or mobile device with a subscription to the WTTW News Daily Briefing. Go to WTTW.com/Daily Briefing and sign up.
Chicago Tonight is made possible in part by Alexandra and John Nichols, the Jim and Kay Mabie Family, the POLK Brothers Foundation, and the support of these donors.
And that's our show for this Thursday night. Don't forget to stay connected with us by signing up for our daily briefing, and you can get Chicago Tonight streamed on Facebook, YouTube, and our website, WTTW.com/news. You can also get the show via podcast and the PBS video app. And please join us tomorrow night at 7 for the Week in Review. And coming up next on WTTW, Jay's Chicago, featuring 5 Chicagoans and the jobs they love, ranging from a professional drone racer to a pioneering black flight attendant. And now for all of us here at Chicago Tonight, I'm Paris Schutz. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy and safe, and good night.
Closed captioning is made possible by Robert A. Clifford and Clifford Law Offices, a personal injury law firm dedicated to preserving the dignity and rights of all individuals.